Hi everyone, I'm Jason. So what is the inner critic? The inner critic is this voice inside your head that tells you that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy enough. This inner critic pushes you down if you're starting to feel a little bit happier, a little bit up. It kind of keeps you down in lower frequencies, making you feel a little bit depressed, anxious, worried, negative, and self-loathing. And how did this inner critic come about? This inner critic exists in all of us. Inner critic is also known as the ego, the pain body, or in my book, Living with the Dragon, it's referred to as the dragon. And this was forged when we were kids. During our childhood years and our developmental years, through caregivers, through the environment around us, we didn't have a very strong supporting cast that encouraged us to grow, encouraged us to feel like we were kids, to feel happy and to be able to release our shame and just to be free. And we had messages of that you're not good enough, or you're a failure, or you have to achieve a certain level, or there's consequences. So those messages repeatedly thrown at your way by those that you trust the most, after a long time, that message becomes ingrained in us, and that creates that inner critic that I'm talking about. So how do we soothe the inner critic? Well, there's a lot of different resources out there that can help soothe the inner critic, but the tool that I've used the most is what I call the ACC model, and really it's the acceptance, compassion, change model. But before we do that, we have to create the sense of awareness, self-awareness. And this is something that takes time and takes practice over the years, and something I've worked on. Self-awareness is coming to the realization that the mind and body work as one. So whenever we're having a negative thought, we're aware that we're having a thought. We're kind of saying, aha, I'm having a thought. We're connecting that thought to where we feel in our body. So usually when I get a negative thought about myself, like, Jason, you're not lovable enough, or you're not good enough, I feel it usually around here. And then it kind of resonates maybe around my chest, my shoulder. So that awareness of where that pain is felt in my body, I draw that connection to my thoughts. So we have to develop a homogeneous relationship between the mind and body. That's the first step. Then comes the acceptance and compassion piece. So realizing that we're having these negative thoughts about ourselves because of the inner critic, we need to come to a place of peace and acceptance. And accepting it means just being with it, feeling it. It's like, yeah, I'm hearing my voice again. I'm hearing my inner critic again telling me that I'm not good enough, that I'm going to fail again, or that I'm going to be rejected, or I'm going to be unloved. And so once we come to peace with that, we straddle between acceptance and compassion. And compassion is the part where we can give it to ourselves if we don't have any external sources to soothe that feeling. We can be self-compassionate and say, yeah, it's okay, Jason. It's okay that you're feeling hurt, or you're feeling lonely, or you're feeling depressed. And what I do with self-compassion is I imagine things that I would say to a friend. So for example, if I have a friend who's feeling a little bit down on himself or herself, I might say, well, let's sit together with it, and let's feel out the feelings together. Let's go through the whole process of healing. And I would ask that friend, I would ask myself, what would I say to a friend? So I might say something like, yeah, it is really tough what you're going through right now. Or would you like me to listen to you and we could talk a little bit more about it? Because I really feel your pain. I really feel your suffering. So just expressing that kindness, that compassion, and sitting together with that feeling can bring a lot of healing and bring acceptance as well. And the change component comes naturally when we start to feel that acceptance and feel that compassion. And the paradox of changing our feelings, our negative feelings created by the inner critic, is that we have to sit with that feeling and come to a place where we're not expecting change to happen. Now, I know this idea is a little bit hard to grasp, but it's almost like a paradox. We just have to accept things as they are and not expect an outcome. So many quotes out there, many people quote saying that we just kind of have to accept what the universe is giving to us. and not expect any changes. And the paradox occurs is that when we release ourselves from these expectations of change, the change actually happens naturally once we get to a place of acceptance and compassion. So I just want to do a quick, easy 4-second breathing exercise with you to help relieve feelings of anxiety. And this is a tool that really helps me as well, coupled with everything else that I talked about, especially when we're hearing the inner critic badgering on our thoughts and putting us down. And we want to slow down our thoughts and slow down our anxiety. So this 4-second breathing exercise is really simple. We're going to breathe in together for 4 seconds. We're going to inhale for 4 seconds. We're going to hold it there for 4 seconds. Then we're going to release and exhale for 4 seconds. And then once we exhale everything out of our lungs, we're going to hold it there for another 4 seconds. Okay, so let's do it together. Just going to breathe in through our nose for 4 seconds. Hold it there for 4 seconds. Exhale for 4 seconds. Hold it for 4 seconds. Let's do that again a few more times together. Inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Release. Hold for 4. One more time. It's that simple. I usually do that exercise about 4 or 5 times. So I do 4 or 5 reps of it, and I notice my anxiety level goes down, negative thought patterns go down. And you don't even really have to pay attention and focus too much on it. All you have to do is be able to count kind of like 4 seconds and 4 seconds. So there's really not a whole lot of skill that you need. You don't need to sit there and practice about being mindful or sit there and meditate. You don't need to get into that state. All you have to do is just breathe in for 4, hold for 4, release for 4, and hold for 4. And you'll notice right away the inner critic kind of just subsides. And the inner critic kind of says, oh, what's going on here? And before you know it, you won't even realize that the inner critic was there in the first place. So give that a go, and love to hear your feedback or comments. So thank you very much, and I'll see you again next time.